Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to What is Circumstantial, Accidental, Intentional Karma with subtitles from Tsem. So, circumstantial, accidental, intentional makes sense. Circumstantial, to me, makes sense. Accidental, though. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, so intentional, obviously, it's pretty straightforward. People intended to do things. Circumstantial is to me like if I decided to go to the grocery store and then you decide to go to the grocery store because you need to buy something, I need to buy something. We just so happen to meet up there, which is not I mean, it's circumstantial in terms of how we defined it, but it's intentional because we both chose to do it. So I guess most things I do believe to be intentional, if not everything to be intentional. Accidental would be like you like reading something or you walking and you're texting on the phone and then you all of a sudden bump into someone. That's accidental because you didn't really want to bump into someone, but you intended, your intentions weren't looking around, you were focused on the phone. So to me, I think most things are intentional. I don't know if there's anything other than intentional. Accidental and circumstantial are just definitions we make up for non-intentional but intentional at the same time. So, like I said, circumstantial is just we happen to meet up at the grocery store, but we intended to go there. So it's intentional, but to meet up, for us to meet up at the same time, it's not intentional, but that's circumstantial. I believe, if I got the definitions correctly. Accidental, that could be accidental too, but accidental is more, I think, more along the lines of like people getting harmed. Um, Not necessarily like anything terrible, just like, if I accidentally bump into you, cause a little bit of harm or disturbance, but it wasn't intentional, it was accidental. But the problem is the actions that you did prior to it was intentional. So that's the reason why I think most things is intentional, I believe, but I'm not sure. That's my belief. Counter me on that one. Try to destroy my argument. Okay, let's go ahead and give this video a shot. Oops.
Every action we do creates results. So whatever action we do, whether it is arbitrary or purpose or accidental or by coincidence or by circumstance, they all have results. So therefore, since all actions have results, we try to create circumstances. The actions that people do will create positive results. An example, putting a Buddha Manjushri statue here, and then when people come here to admire the garden without knowing, they circumambulate. That's a circumstantial situation where they make an affinity to Manjushri. They don't know it. They didn't plan it. That's not their intention. They don't even understand it. But because you put Manjushri here and you create a place where they circumambulate, whether this way, or they admire the beauty, you're creating a circumstance where people create an affinity with Manjushri and get blessed. Does everybody understand that? So a circumstantial creation of affinity or merit is done by a person who knows it for people or beings who don't. So all the animals that circumambulate, all the animals that sit near Manjushri, all the fishes that go around, all the insects, all the people, the tourists and guests, and all the spirits and ghosts and land gods who are suffering, who are alone, who died because they were very angry, they were very jealous, they were very attached, and they died with that state of mind, so they become wandering spirits. Even they get blessed when they see it. Why? Because we place this holy being here. Hence, in Buddhist places, they make Buddha statues everywhere, and they make it as big as possible so that people can be blessed on purpose. Meaning, you know what it is, you go there on purpose. People can be blessed by circumstances. People can be blessed by accident, meaning, oh, they got lost and they see it. So many ways. Because our job is to liberate and bless people as much as possible. A lot of people, like the fishes in the pond in this life, they will not be able to practice Dharma. They will not be able to listen to Dharma. They will not be able to understand or comprehend Dharma. But by circumambulating around Manjushri every single day, unknowingly, even for food, they're making affinity to Manjushri. Why? Because the object is holy. What's the object? Manjushri is holy. Does everybody understand that? Hence, in Buddhist organizations around the world, and Buddhist places around the world, and especially China these days, and Japan and all that, you see huge Buddhist statues outside, isn't it? That's the reason. Understand? A little better? That's the reason. People think, oh, it's such a waste of money, you should give to charity. Well, blessing people's minds is a form of charity. And the results of blessing their mind may not open in this life or immediately, but it will. Because any actions we do wasted or gone, correct? So they're stored. In fact, the very reason you're here with me and we're sharing Dharma together is because of some actions you created in a previous life. Do you guys understand? So some actions you created in a previous life created the circumstance for you to be able to learn the Dharma now. Perhaps you and I were fishes swimming around a pond with a Buddha statue, and we're here and I created the merit to be a monk. You created merit to be human to learn Dharma. Because whether you're a Rinpoche, you're a High Lama, you're a normal person, you're a monk, you're not, it doesn't make a difference. The law of karma applies to everybody with no exception. Okay? So if a Rinpoche does bad things, he will have bad karma. Simple as that. No exception. Rinpoches are not above anyone. No one. Rinpoche is not above the law of karma. Rinpoche is not above the law of cause and effect. Rinpoche is not above anything the Buddha has taught. A Rinpoche is the same as any of you. So everyone who has a body, speech, and mind, and has a kansa or a mind, consciousness, must abide by the law of cause and effect. Must live a right livelihood. Must generate good thoughts of mind. We understand. Now, there are some beings that we call a Rinpoche. For many, many lifetimes, they have meditated and they have reached the high state of mind. So whatever they do, most of their actions is to benefit others, whether it looks wrathful, peaceful, beneficial, or not. There are those type of beings.
Hold on, I'm gonna rewind it. That caption went by really quick.
State of mind. So whatever they do, most of their actions is to benefit others, whether it looks wrathful, peaceful, beneficial, or not.
Really wrathful. It looks wrathful.
There are those type of beings, definitely. All right, like Saramji. Saramji can give you a piece of candy or hit you on the head. It will be a blessing because he's reached that level where there's no more self-grasping or selfishness. So whatever action is to benefit you. But for the rest of us, we got to be careful. We got to be alert and aware. So the rule of karma, cause and effect, makes an exception for no one. We are all the same according to Buddha's teachings. Does everybody understand? So I'm not better than you. I just know Dharma a little bit more. I'm not superior to you. I just have been in Dharma longer, so I'm senior. So as a senior person, you show me some respect, or you give me some respect, and it's for that reason. It's not I'm trying to be better than you. You guys understand that? Because ultimately, all our minds are the same, unless you reach Buddhahood. Okay? So, all actions that we do can be circumstantial, accidental, on purpose, premeditated, unknowing. It can be many ways. And all those actions will result in karma. So, if we put a Manjushri statue here and some fishes swim around it, that's circumstances, right? Circumstantial. If somebody comes in here like a little kid, just wants to enjoy and play, and he runs around, that's accidental. If this lady comes here in the morning to circumambulate, that's on purpose. All these three kind of circumstances, they collect merit. Why do they collect merit? Because the object is holy. You're not putting a bottle of milk there to circumambulate, there's no power. You're putting a Buddha image. So when it's a Buddha image, whether it's intentional, accidental, knowingly, unknowingly, you still collect an affinity. You still collect some merit. So that's why We always make the Buddha statues all over, outdoor, everywhere, so as many people can see as possible. So they can accidentally see it, they can on purpose see it, they can see it by circumstance, like an airplane flies over, they see the Buddha, everybody in there sees it. When they see it, the seeds of Buddha will be planted. Because the Buddha said, the Buddha has a disciple in Sri Lanka. He was a king. That time there's no pictures and WhatsApps and emails and nothing. And he was dying and very much wanted to see the Buddha's form. So the Buddha had a form of himself painted and sent down to Sri Lanka to give to the king, and he blessed it. And he told the king, by seeing this picture, it will be the same as seeing me directly. Because by seeing the Buddha's body, we plant the seeds to achieve the Buddha mind. Do you guys understand? So the tradition of making Buddha's images arose from there. All right? So that's why we do all this. So the manjushri being here, every time guests, tourists, visitors, friends, family come here, they're circumambulate. Even they're laughing and joking, they don't know anything about mantras. They're still collecting some merit and connection to manjushri. Correct? So it's very beneficial. The fishes every day, they're collecting a lot of merit. A lot. That's why I put the Gensei chapel there for the Bentong. They collect a lot of merit. That's why I request you guys to promote the Bentong chapel. Promote it all over so people from other parts of Malaysia and other Southeast Asian countries to come and pray Gensei, because it will show miracles. It has already. So it's very, very important. That's why we're doing that. Does everybody understand? Good. So that's why we put statues there. Remember that little talk I gave you.
Okay, there's one thing in the beginning that he said that I kind of want to go over real quick. Or replay real quick.
So whatever action we do, whether it is arbitrary or purpose or accidental or by coincidence or by circumstance, they all have results. So therefore, since all actions have results, we try to create circumstances. The actions that people do will create positive results. An example, putting a Buddha Manjushri statue here, and then when people come here to admire the garden without knowing, they circumambulate. That's a circumstantial situation where they make an affinity to Manjushri. They don't know it. They didn't plan it. That's not their intention. They don't even understand it. But because you put Manjushri here, and you create a place where they circumambulate, whether this way, or they admire the beauty, you're creating a circumstance where people create an affinity with Manjushri and get blessed. Does everybody understand that? So a circumstantial creation of affinity or merit is done by a person who knows it for people or beings who don't. So all the animals that circumambulate, all the animals that sit near Manjushri, all the fishes that go around, all the insects, all the people, the tourists and guests, and all the spirits and ghosts and land gods who are suffering, who are alone, who died because they were very angry, they were very jealous, they were very attached, and they died with that state of mind, so they become wandering spirits. Even they get blessed when they see it. Why? Because we place this holy being here. Hence, in Buddhist places, is done by a person who knows it, create an affinity with Manjushri and get blessed. Does everybody understand that? So a circumstantial creation of affinity or merit is done by a person who knows it for people or beings who don't.
I want to this part here.
Creation of affinity or merit is done by a person who knows it for people or beings who don't. Does everybody understand that? So a circumstantial creation of affinity or merit is done by a person who knows it for people or beings who don't.
Okay, okay, I see. Sorry for putting you through that. But I was trying to understand that part. I guess for me, I personally, it's kind of, to me, it's very strange. Because of my way of thinking, I suppose. But then at the same time, I do understand. So, for example, I don't see how, say, the statue itself is holy. Now, I understand the idea behind it, where it's created. I mean, mind you, that's just material from this world. And then, how do you make something holy or blessing by chanting? I believe, like, depending on the religion, it's different ways. And then maybe you apply the whatever it may be to the object itself. But at the same time, to me, it's kind of strange because now that I think about it, actually, that you blessed the water, which is an object in itself. Well, I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking. It's like you bless the water, then you apply that water to another object which blesses it as well, like holy water. But I guess you can just do the same thing as you would do to water to, say, the object itself. My logical thinking is that saying words doesn't really bless it, and it's still an object from this world. But at the same time, I do understand what do you call ideas. Um, so people like it's to me it's like how do you say what's that word? Anyways, it's like I can't believe. Hold on, let me think about it real quick. The word I'm trying to think of. Okay, so the placebo effect. Very much, according to doctors and stuff, it's very much true. It really does work. It's the belief in it that actually makes it work. So, I mean, at least as far, I've never done a study myself, but I've heard some doctors say it really does happen. You give them just a sugar pill, and all of a sudden they're cured of their illness. Not all illnesses, of course, but certain types of illnesses, it does seem to work. So that's kind of, to me, in my opinion, the same effect. But again, it does work. So, and because of these um, instances that it's believed to be true. Again, I think that will work for me? No. But will it work for some people? Absolutely. I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt people believing in things and it coming true. Again, the placebo effect is very much a scientific. Again, I believe, not really studied up on too much of it, but if they believe in it enough, it will actually work. So, while maybe I may try to believe in this, it probably will not work because I think too logically of things. So, I doubt it'll work on me. Will the placebo effect work on me? I'm pretty sure because if you lie to me and say, here's a pill that will cure your disease or whatever it is, and I'll take it, it's like, all right, I'm good. No, it probably will work. But again, that's because they told me something. Whereas when and I can't have no way of analyzing if this is an actual pill that will cure it or not. So I have to take it on faith in a sense, on their authority that it is going to work. And that's the same effect on this one too. But I guess I'm more in that's the reason why kind of like I'm starting to swing more to Advaita Vedanta as opposed to Buddhism, just because Advaita Vedanta doesn't necessarily you have to have statues or you have to have things that doesn't make sense to me. Like for example, sometimes they say you want to consecrate a room, essentially, and then some people say you just want to maybe a corner of the room so that you can focus without being distracted. So that makes perfect sense. When you want to do something, you want to try to and you want to focus on it, you kind of have to limit distractions. So if you dedicate a room for purely doing whatever it is and eliminate all distractions from that room, that'll make perfect sense. So that's why I tend to swing that way now. Um, but it's very interesting about I don't know. I think the statues look really, really cool. I do remember where I'm from, there was a big Buddha statue, and when I went back there to visit, it's not there no more. It was kind of, I would have loved to seen it again, um, but due to, I guess, the population booming, that they had to reconfigure stuff. So I don't know where that statue went, honestly. I don't know how it was there in the first place, but I remember it being quite big actually. And I do remember one part. Now that I think about it a little bit more, I do remember one part going over to that area. I remember looking at the Buddha statue. All of a sudden, I got hit in the leg with something that was kind of painful. I was a kid, a young kid at the time. I think a car was going by and it flung up a rock and I got hit. Now, don't say that's karma. Buddha was mad at me at that point, probably flung that statue, or like you were saying, maybe it's a lesson. He flung that statue at me to bless me. I don't know. But I do remember that vividly. Well, not vividly, but I do remember that now. I remember my mom walking, holding my hand, and I think we were looking for like a taxi or something. I don't remember. All I remember was just the part I remember that statue, looking up at it, and something hit me on one of my legs. And obviously I wasn't looking down, so I don't know what hit me. I assumed it was a rock because there was rocks on the ground because I was looking at the Buddha statue. You can say that's punishment, absolutely. Hey, whatever you want, whatever you choose to believe. Kind of ironically, it said that the one of the believed monks or enlightened person can either give you a piece of candy or smack you in the face or something or hit you in the head and consider it to be a blessing. I think that's kind of weird to say to be hit by someone. I mean, like a friendly tap, like boop, like that. I get it. But anyways, so that's my reaction to what is circumstantial, accidental, and intentional karma with Tsem here. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.